Hello my friends, as you can tell from the trailer, I'm back from the south of Italy. I'm back to my place in the north of Italy. The narrow trails is part of my environment, and the topics of today, as you have read from the title of this video, is whether you should take with you the knife or a small axe. If you have to choose between them, and I will try to share with you my experience. Doesn't mean that it's the same for all of you. Much of my knowledge depends on my environment and my use of these two tools. So stay tuned, and let's see what I have to say about it. To make this with a knife is not an easy task. With an axe is really easy. You have to work a bit, but it's not a difficult task. First of all, I want to stress the fact that the purpose of this video is not to say that one of these two tools is useless. On the contrary, I love to have them with me as much as I can. I just want to explore the occasion when you want to save weight, and you need to choose between them, if in the case eventually of a long trip, when you don't want to bring with you too much weight. And in this case, the choice is not easy. For example, if you have to cut a log of this size, it's not that you can't do it with your knife, but as you can see, the blade doesn't fit, so it's difficult to batoon it. You can split it in many parts and then split in half, but it's more difficult. While even with a small axe like this, just take the log. This is really rotten, but anyway. See. Easy task. Split the log. They are pretty the same, in my opinion. Yes, you have a bit more control with your knife. And you want to make really small pieces, but even with your axe, you won't have much of a problem. See. Also, if you want to make a point to a stick with an axe, it's a really easy task. If you have a knot like this, no problem. is not that with a knife you can't do it, but you see, I don't like to chop with a knife. Some people do it, but I don't like it. I do it just a few times with a really soft wood, but I don't like to do it. Anyway, if you don't want to chop with your knife, you have to baton it, but if you use one hand to grab the stick, you can't do that. Even if you find the right position and you want to baton it, it's not that you can't do it. Just a moment that I take my baton. It's not that you can't do it, but it's much more difficult. See, you have to find the right place to, and if you have a small stick, it's a really a difficult task. It's not an easy one. You can do it, as I said, but it's not easy. You see, you want to take out this part. It's not an easy. There's not an easy way, in my experience, to do that while with an axe. You just of course, the more you stay close to the head, the more precision you have. So if you have to work with your wood for your shelter or for other small jobs, I prefer the axe. It's more reliable and dependable in this fashion. Now, regarding feather sticks, some people say that you can't make a feather stick with your axe. Well, that is not true, but with a knife, of course, you have made me make feather sticks many times, and so it's much more an easy process. It's easier, and also you might make much better feather sticks. It is not that you can't do that with your axe, but the angle of the axe is too large, and so even if you sharpen your axe really often, it won't be ever like your knife in that way. And also I don't like to sharpen too much the axe, because it has to take the job of chopping, and so if you make your axe too sharp, it will chip, or eventually it will bend the blade. So it's not really necessary to make the axe too sharp. But regarding this problem of the feather sticks, I have to say that you see, if you use the axe like before, when I made this point here, I've made all these piece of wood, and I can tell you guys that they are really what you need to start the fire. If you make a pile of that with your axe, you won't need any feather sticks. You see, this piece of wood is what you need to make your fire, to start your fire. We'll show you that in a moment. And so even to start the fire is not really a big problem if you can't make a feather stick with your axe. I didn't sharpen this axe for a while, and I regret it because it is starting to rust a bit on the blade, but it's not a problem with an axe because you have so much metal on the head that just a few strops and it will be like new. Eventually I will use my stones to keep the edge really sharp, but to keep the edge sharp again. But as I said, you won't need that. If you can do this job of making these points, for me it's what you need with your axe. Also, I have to say that even if I don't bring my knife with me every time, just because I prefer, as I said, to have my axe in my travels, I always bring with me a small knife. And eventually I usually take with me the Victorino's Swiss Camp because it has many tools that I have shown you many times. So if you have a knife like this, you can always use it to make feather sticks and whenever you want. It's not a problem. You don't need a scanty edge to make feather sticks. You can make them with a flat grind with no problem. It's not a difficult task at all. You see. So you see, and these type of knives usually have two blades. I have reshaped this blade to use it for my carving jobs. Anyway, it's really sharp. So if you want to make feather sticks, it won't be much of a problem. On the contrary, it's really an easy job. So you see that you don't need a big knife to do this job. And for the other jobs, you have the axe, which is much more reliable. As I said, I love to have my knife on my side. So I'm not trying to convince you that you don't have to take it with you. For me, the knife is more like a friend than a simple tool. I've made this handle myself. I've purchased the blade from Brisa. I will put the link in descriptions, and it's a Elmax steel blade, which is really dependable, and it's a wonderful steel. But no matter what steel you use, it won't ever be strong like an axe. So guys, if you ask me for what you have to bring with you in your travels, I will suggest you a small axe. This model is an outdoor model. It has a reinforcement here, which you will need if the wood will keep bouncing on this part of the handle, and eventually it will break it. With this you have much more comfortable. I also have made this piece of leather to prevent this to happen, but it's not necessary. You don't need it to do that. It will protect it a bit more. This model of the axe is a bit it's a bit thinner than other models like small forest or other type of axe, famous axe like that. But for this reason, it's really comfortable to use it, to take it with you in your backpack, and it allows you anyway to make many jobs. If you don't need to cut trees and big logs, and for that use, I usually you prefer to use a saw. But to make points, to make a bushcraft chair, and to make a shelter, and for all other uses that you can find in the outdoor, this is what you need. I don't usually need much more than this. Even if I love the small forest, and even more I love the Scandinavian forest axe, but you simply don't need it to do the jobs. I only suggest you to take a good axe. I have this for more than 10 years, and it's always the same. They tell me that it's not so easy to find it anymore, this kind of this type of axe, because Grunsfors Bruck has become really famous, and so it's not easy to put your hand on this tool. But many other brands will make a good axe anyway. Eventually, you will always can replace the handle and just use the head of a more affordable axe. Of course, guys, I have to say that using an axe it's a bit more dangerous than using the knife. Even if with a knife like this you have a big blade to pay attention to. So don't play with these tools. They are not toys. Even if you have much experience with the outdoor, you have an experienced outdoorman, you have to make also much experience with your tools. But anyway, the axe is much more dangerous than the knife, and for this reason you have to pay much attention in the first moment of use. Always keep your hands and your legs far away from the edge of this tool. When you use it, you just try to not to leave anything in the way, no meat in the way, and never use it with your hand grabbing a stick and making this. Even if you find you think that you have enough control, never do it. Keep also always much distance between your arm and your hand and your chopping. Having said so, this is a really enjoyable tool. I have to say that when I first bought this model, I didn't use it too much. At the time, I usually take with me the small forest axe, and the real reason I have found later that the real reason for that is it was much more famous, and everyone has seen the video about that model. And with this, I don't want to upset any of you that I'm not saying that it's not a big tool and it's not really enjoyable to use it, and I'm not saying that it's not useful. On the contrary, for many of you that lives in a place different from my environment, it's not just enjoyable, but it's necessary. and you can't do many stuffs without it. I'm just saying that for my job and for my environment, for the use that I make of the X, it's even too much, and I don't need it really. So guys, as I said, it's not a long video. I don't like to stress too much this subject, because I think that many of you already knows the things that I have said. It's just a few thoughts that crossed my mind, and I thought to put it in a video. But if you have any question, just put it on the description, and I will cook a good steak on the fire. So if you want to stay with me a bit more, you are welcome, of course. So for the rest of you that just want to explore the subject, I hope you have found a few information useful, and if you want to join my channel, you will be really welcome. In this field, of course, the knife is better, but it's not that you can't make the job with your axe. Also, you can batoon your axe. Not that you can batoon only your knife. As you can see, I have put the pieces that I have made with the axe before here, and then I just put this piece of log here to take a piece of chocolate and some roots that a vine that I found around here. Don't need too much of it. And I put it right here. The chocolate here, my Victorinox. A day like this, starting a fire with a magnifying lens is even too easy. been a while since I've heard this popping, which is special for the chestnut tree, chestnut wood. If you burn other woods, not all woods make this popping sound. Not sure about the word in English. In Italian is tannino, it's tannin, I guess, the right word, which is a substance that is inside of the wood. Look at these guys. Real beauty. One thing that you can't do with your axe is cutting the meat. But again, many bushcraft knives are made in carbon steel, and I have to say that it's not a steel that it's really forgiving with the blood. So if you plan to cut your stick with your knife, your bushcraft knife, you should take a stainless steel blade. Or anyway, you have to keep it really dry and clean it every time you use it. These herbs here, I take them from back there. I've planted them myself 2 years ago. 2 years ago. And then they are growing really well. I will show you later. A bit more of salt. Cheers, my friends. Now I will show you the herbs that I've planted 2 years ago. Here they are, grown strong and healthy. Rosemary. Look how green it is. Really proud of this plant. So guys, thank you for your company as usual, and also thank you for all your comments. I will try to read and answer them all. Till you next time, I wish you all the best. Stay safe, my friends. Bye bye.